Hey friends, so I know I've been silent on the topic of race and racism in America. There are lots of posts going around that if you're silent, you're contributing to the problem, or if you're silent, you're part of the problem. When I saw those posts, I immediately, of course, wanted to repost them. But I realized that just by raising my voice, I'm not helping the problem. That actually, I needed to really get silent and get real with myself and look at who I am and where my belief systems might be contributing to the problem. And so I've chosen to remain silent publicly, but personally, I have not been silent. I have been doing deep soul searching to try to unravel where I sit and where I stand and who I am and what racist things have been programmed into me, what beliefs I hold on to. All of these things I try to unpack. I've been taking time to unpack my suitcase before I share it. Unpack the baggage before I share. So my silence is not in not caring. My silence is in getting silent with myself and really, I would say, prayerful with myself and honest and truthful. And so I've dug down, and I don't think I've uncovered it all, right? When you've lived enough life, you have so many layers. But I've uncovered things, and so now I'm ready to speak. I think when we just shout, I am with you, but we don't dig in and see, am I really with you? Am I really with you? Or am I jumping on the new bandwagon, not really digging in? So I've come to the conclusion that there's a few things I need to acknowledge in order to combat programming and belief systems. The first thing I need to address is my white privilege. I don't know why this makes me emotional, but I remember when I first heard the phrase white privilege, and I was like, I grew up with a single mom. Like, I've dug from nothing. I was in an abusive relationship. Like, what privilege do I have? I've had a lot of hard things. But unpacking your white privilege is not about that your life hasn't been hard or that you haven't had your own struggles to overcome. It's unpacking that your race gives you certain privileges. That's white privilege. The privilege to not be judged based on my race for basically my entire life. The privilege to walk down the street and not be judged. The privilege to have been called racist names, but have them not affect me because everyone else around me was white. So it didn't matter if you called me something racist, because I didn't have to take that home. I didn't pack that up and take that home with me. That's white privilege. There's a long list of why I am privileged because I am white. There are other things I'm not privileged in. My gender, being a single mom. But that doesn't negate my white privilege because I've had other setbacks. So first, I have to acknowledge my white privilege. I acknowledge my privilege of being white. I don't think I have to feel guilt over that, but I think it must be acknowledged. There are certain trials and hard things I have not gone through, nor will ever go through, because I am white. That is my white privilege. That is the first thing I have to acknowledge in helping move our nation, our world, move ourselves forward. And if you're not there yet with your white privilege, then I think it's time to try to do the work to get there, because I wasn't there. It's taken a lot of soul searching and not a lot of not being defensive. A lot of just like, you're right. Okay. And once again, this isn't all or nothing. I am privileged for being white. I have white privilege because I'm white. And there are other things that I'm not privileged in, and other things that have been hard. Like I said, it's not all or nothing. I have overcome hard things, but I have white privilege, and I acknowledge that. The second thing I need to unpack is, do I have racist beliefs? Do I have racist beliefs? And I put myself in a bunch of mental scenarios. Am I more scared of a black man walking down the street than a white man? Am I more scared of a group of black people, or fearful or nervous, than I am of a group of white people or any other race? Like, line these races up all together. And I put my brain and walked myself through different scenarios. I sat down the other day and was reading a book while people of all races walked by. And I started to notice how I felt, what I believed, whether I was alone. So like whether I felt in danger or not. And we all make judgments of people. I remember being in New York and being on a subway, and I was pretty sure the crazy ranting person on the subway was going to murder me. Like, very certain by the way they acted, by the things were coming out of their mouth, that I was going to die on that subway. They were a white person. They are still a white person, right? In unpacking that, I felt a pretty good sense of peace in that I am not somebody who is more likely to be fearful of someone based on race. I am, if you know me, a vibe person. So, have I been around groups of people of a different race that have made me feel nervous or fearful? 100%. 100%. Have I also been around groups of white people that make me fearful and nervous? 100%. And am I more likely to be more nervous around one group than the other? And when I unpacked myself, I found no. No. There have been times where I have chosen to walk near people because I feel safe by them, regardless of race, and I avoid the other side of the sidewalk because that person seems shady and freaks me out. And for me, race is a non-issue. Vibe is where I'm at on everything. I went to a bar with a bunch of girlfriends, and they all left, and it was me and one other girl. And I look up probably like midnight or 1 in the morning, and we look around, and I notice we are the only white people in this bar. The only, like, the 2 white chicks in the bar. And I told her, I'm like, we're the only white people here. And I felt no sense of not belonging, no sense of not being accepted or wanting to be, people wanting us to be there. I felt none of that, which is interesting now that I'm saying it out loud, because in a group of Black people, I probably should have felt very othered. As like, who are these white chicks? And I didn't feel that. We had fun, we danced, I didn't fear for my safety. We had a grand old time. And were there wackos in there being crazy at a bar at 1 a.m.? Yes. Yeah. But I didn't fear. I wasn't fearful. And so in unpacking that, I realized I do not adjust my life based on the race of the people around me. I do not change the way I live based on the people around me. And I'm not more likely to be suspicious of someone of one race than the other. I'm not. And for that, I feel like it's because I've been working on that for a long time. Since I was young, I noticed race. Since I was young, I noticed people being treated differently because of race. When I was young, I noticed being treated differently because I came from a single mom household. I've just always been a person, not always, right? I've strived to become a person who sees people for who they are. I see your race. It's part of who you are. It's part of who you are. It's part of your culture. It's part of your upbringing. I see that. I see your race. And that's okay. It's okay for me to see that. But I do not make judgments based off of race. At all. I do not make judgments based off of race. And when I sat back and unpacked that, I was like, okay. I don't need to deal with that. I don't need to deal with shifting myself to not like feel unsafe around people of different races because I already feel good there. I feel good there. So I needed to acknowledge my white privilege. I needed to unpack my racist beliefs. And third, I need to see how I am teaching my children to acknowledge racism and to see it as hurtful and painful, and to teach them that it is their job to love deeply and be examples of that. People have beliefs, and if there's anything I've learned, the belief system of people is very hard to change. It's very hard to change, and it's very hard to change through anger. Now, I think we need anger to wake up, right? Wake up. So people like me, I think there needs to be anger from Black people. So people like me wake up. And there are other people who have racist beliefs that they've never stopped to unpack it. There are other people who are racist with intention to be racist. And I think we keep packing people into boxes, but it's just not that way. It just flows. So anger wakes us up, and then love moves us forward. Anger wakes us up. Love moves us forward. And that just came to me from La La Land. Heather's like, whatever. It's not my words, right? Anger wakes us up. Love moves us forward. So dig in. Find out where maybe the love is missing, where there's a lot of fear, anger. It's okay to unpack that. You can release it. It doesn't have to be yours anymore. It was trained in you. It was brought up in you. And then we move forward. We wake up, we love, we move forward. We walk forward together. We are better together. Acknowledge white privilege, unpack your racist beliefs, and see what you're teaching your children. I may not be able to be on the front lines of a protest, but that's where I can start. That is my ground zero for making a difference. Let the anger wake you up. Let the love move you forward. Be good, be kind. I love you all. Never expected this to be so long. Love you. Bye-bye.